And now in this unit, we are in unit 4, and unit is titled as Critical Research or Studies in Critical Language and Life. The contents: first, we begin with critical research in language education and use. We talk the foundation, it means emergence of critical research, agendas in critical research, trends means the tradition, convention, trends means the main topics and process as well as the contribution. Our second topic is on new directions in critical language study. I am planning to have intensive discussion on these topics today. And our next lesson will be on models or approaches to critical studies in language, literature, and life. We talk Norman Fairclough and his three-dimensional model. We talk Willis and his task-based model. We'll be talking Fairclough's dialectical reasoning model, Martin's corpus-based model, Norris, Kress, and Van Leeuwen's multimodal social semiotic model, Fairclough and Graham's Marxist critical discourse analysis, Marxist approach. We'll talk the postmodern analysis and neoliberalism and globalization. So these are the contents included in Unit 4. Probably within 3 weeks we will complete it. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain critical research in language education. You will be able to explain critical research in language education in terms of foundation, agenda, trend, process, and contribution. Similarly, you pay attention to exploring the new directions in critical language study. You will be familiar with different models or different approaches of undertaking critical study. A critical study also means critical discourse analysis. The core title of our course. The core title of our course or syllabus is critical discourse analysis. Critical discourse analysis itself is critical discourse analysis comes under critical language study. CDA is an approach of critical language study. So we talk different models and approaches of critical study of language, including that Marxist approach, colonial and post-colonial approach, uh, corpus-based approach like that. You will be able to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the approaches. Okay, knowledge and understanding of the approaches used in analysis of text or discourse. And finally, I will engage you in a workshop. That workshop will be on make critiques on different text types. We discuss different text types and we try to make critical reflection on that. Okay, so before I directly enter into the discussion, I would like to have a brief interaction. Okay, I would like to have brief interaction with some questions. How do you perceive the term research? Are you familiar with the term research? Research is a process of finding new things. Good. Process of finding new things, as well as adding some new information on the existing one. Very good. What makes a research critical? We discuss critical research. Critical research is different from the scientific research. Critical research is different from value-based research. Critical research is different from that kind of, survey type of research, numerical research, quantitative research. What makes research critical? Research upon the pressing social issues. research that is based on individual subjectivity, in-depth discussion, or quality of research itself makes a research critical. What can be the importance of research in language education? Research is important to explore some language-related issues and components. It is important to develop new theories in language education. It is important to introduce new methodologies in language education. Research gives valuable information. Based on valuable information, we redesign, we aid, we revisit, we assess or evaluate. We evaluate the different modalities and functions of language education. Okay, do you have some ideas on undertaking research? How can we carry out research? What's the process of doing research? For example, selection of the problem. For example, stating the problem clearly, setting up the objective, reviewing the literature, collecting data, analyzing and interpreting the data to derive the findings. Based on the findings, drawing the conclusion. We need to adopt certain methodology. Research is a systematic procedure. So when it is since it is a systematic process, we need to follow some methodologies, some step-by-step process in doing research. Okay, next question. How does a research contribute in education and expansion of knowledge and understanding? For example, research explores the problems and we can take necessary steps to address the problem. Once we address the problem, then we can see some changes in education. Research aids knowledge. Research validates ideas. Research explores gaps. Research gives some empirical evidence to support something else. It contributes in a number of ways. Okay, now I discuss you research process and the components. Research is a systematic process of inquiry, or it is an investigation. It is an exploration. Systematic process of inquiry to address a research problem or question of interest. It means we begin with a problem in research. We explore the problem. We collect or gather necessary information to argue why it has been a problem. And we collect data and we say these could be the ways to overcome the problems. Anyway, research is systematic process of inquiry. The aim is to address a research problem or question of interest. What about the process and characteristics of research? Our topic is critical research in language education. So here we focus what research is, what is the process, and what are the components. Got it? Research is systematic. Research is scientific. Research is inquiry based. Research is procedural. For example, hypothesis, data, verification of data, and falsifying the hypothesis or developing a theory. Research is a scientific process, so it is systematic. It is inquiry based. We aim to bring something new. We aim to bring something unexplored by doing research. So it is systematic, scientific, inquiry based, and procedural. What are the key components of a research? I focus you on some key components: research problem, objectives and research questions, literature review. Literature review means going through the related works which have already been done, and extract some valuable information that suits our work, and that is suitable to our work. That is literature review. Methodology is step-by-step process. It is the process of undertaking research. Anyway, key components are research problem, objectives and research question, literature review, and methodology. Okay. Now, where to start then? Where do we start the research? We start research with reading. So first read, then only explore research area. If you are really interested to undertake to carry out research works, you must have to carry out thesis in your fourth semester. That is thesis writing. Thesis writing is a research. You begin your research with reading. That is careful reading. What to read? Read books, read websites, there you find different online materials, read journals, maybe online journals or offline journals, reports, research reports, e-books, books available in e-copy, encyclopedia to get the meaning, to have clear concept, and we also read theses or dissertations. These theses or dissertations also support us in research work. Okay, here you see that at least two definitions of research. Research is an investigation. खोजी हो के कुरा कस्तो भइरहेको छ, कस्तो हुनुपर्छ, कस्तो हुँदा त्यसले राम्रो काम गर्छ, त्यो कुरा त्यो विषयवस्तु जब हामी खोजी गर्छौं त्यो आफैमा the inquiry itself is research. So research is an investigation. It is examination or inquiry. Research requires planning, organization, and ethical means moral, ethical considerations, as well as systematic and careful analysis of data, sound interpretations and conclusions on the basis of evidence means fact, tathya, and inferences, nichod, tathya ra nichod, evidence and inferences being made. So Birian Paltridge and M. Fakiti, they have given the comprehensive definition. This definition has at least three things. What is research? Inquiry. What is required to conduct a research? To conduct a research, there should be planning, there should be organizing, and there should be some ethical considerations. Then what is the process of research? The process is systematic and careful analysis, sound interpretation, and the conclusion. Similarly, here you see the second one. According to Dronay, research simply means trying to find answers to questions. Research questions. To find answers to questions. An activity every one of us does all the time to learn more about the world around us. Before 5 days, I conducted a research. My research was on teaching at its best, the voices of novice English language teacher. One of your friend was my research participants. I utilized his data as well. So at that time, I was trying to find the answer of 5 questions in my research. I asked the first question, what is teaching in your experience of 2 to 3 years teaching? My second question was, how do you inspire your students to learn? In that research, my third question was, what works at its best in your classroom? What works at its best in teaching? My fourth question was, What different activities or strategies you frequently use in the classroom? And the last question I asked my participant, my respondents, Uttardataharulai, was, do you want to provide some tips or suggestions to others? And based on that research, I prepared my presentation and I presented the findings of that research in international conference that was on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I mean to say that research is a process of collecting information and finding something. It simply means trying to find answers to questions. Research is an activity, the activity every one of us does all the time to learn more about the world around us. World around us means more about the things that we find near to us. One day I will share you the findings. That is interesting. त्यो रिसर्चको फाइन्डिङहरू म तपाईँलाई यो कोर्स सकिने दिन I will be sharing you. That's really wonderful because everyone in the conference they loved the presentation. Okay, research is a process of collecting and analyzing information to increase our understanding of the issue. It means research helps us understand what actually happened, what's wrong, or how something is going on. उदाहरणका लागि परियोजना विधिले भाषा शिक्षणमा विद्यार्थीको लेखन र बोल्ने सिपलाई विकास गर्छ भन्ने तपाईको एउटा मान्यता भयो, हाइपोथेसिस भयो। गर्छ कि गर्दैन भन्नलाई त अनुसन्धान गर्नु पर्यो नि त। अनुसन्धान अब कसमा गर्नुहुन्छ? विद्यार्थीमा। के को लागि गर्नुहुन्छ भन्दा परियोजना विधि कतिको उपयोगी हुँदो रहेछ भनेर गर्नुहुन्छ। अनि त्यो परियोजना विधिको उपयोगिता हेर्नका लागि तपाई आफैले परियोजना विधि प्रयोग गर्दै पढाउँदै गर्नु होला अथवा अन्य कोहीले परियोजना विधि पढाउँदै प्रयोग गर्दै गरेको अब्जर्भेसन गर्नु होला, डेटा ल्याउनुहुन्छ र त्यसका आधारमा यो कारणले परियोजना विधि because of these things project method is effective or project method seems ineffective or less effective because the findings show this kind of things. You could say in such a way after undertaking research. So yeah, research is a process of collecting and analyzing information to increase our understanding of the issues. It is systematic inquiry to describe, explain, and predict. Systematic inquiry to describe the existing situation, explain the reality, and make predictions about observed phenomena. Research is a study of things or events in order to establish fact. Fact means evidence, praman, and reach new conclusion. Research is done to find out things in a systematic way. Thereby, researchers increase their knowledge after taking out their research. Sometimes we argue the things based on the findings of our research. We claim my research says this because it has been found in my study on the teachers. Last year, I conducted a research. My research was professional stress of the teacher. And out of the 5 respondents, 3 teachers said that they are in a stress, the stress of job. Before being involved in job, they were highly excited. But when they get the job, then they have to leave other activities. It means job got them concentrated and they had very low level income. Their life has been more expensive whenever they get job, but the earning was not satisfactory. So they said that we are in a stress because of economy at first, because we get just 40 to 45,000 in a month, and that is insufficient to pay house rent, to educate the children, to sustain the life, and to have some sort of joy, amusement with friends. So yeah, my concern is that research, you argue something else based on the research. Now I can argue that teachers are not happy. Why do you say? If someone asks that question to me and I say it is based on my research, because my respondents said that they are not happy because in the past teaching was highly prestigious and there was no expensive market, and whatever they owned by teaching was sufficient. But at present everything is high up. It means the price is quite unaffordable, but the salary is vulnerable. So vulnerable salary cannot meet the unaffordable price. That's why they are not happy. अनुसन्धानका आधारमा हामीले क्लेम गर्न सक्यौं कि अनुसन्धानले के गर्छ त we increase our knowledge from the research. Research basically consists of 3 steps. Pose a question. You start your research with question. For example, I started that very research. What works at its best in teaching? मैले त्यो अनुसन्धान शिक्षणमा सबैभन्दा राम्रो काम केले गर्दो रहेछ त भन्ने प्रश्न उब्जाए मनमा। ल अब योमा मैले 15 जनाबाट डेटा लिन्छु भने 15 जनालाई टक्क इमेल पठाए, 15 जनाले इमेलमै आन्सर दिए। म यहाँ अहिले भर्खरै देखाउँछु तपाईलाई 15 जनाको डेटा सेटै छ मसँग। भन्ने खोजेको के हो त भन्दा I began that research with a question, then I collected data, and then I present an answer to the questions. Research aids to our knowledge. Research improves practice, and research informs us. It informs what is happening or what is going on. Okay. Now, what are the key components of a research? We say research is a systematic process and it has some key components. Components in a research, according to Liddy and Armour. Identifying a research problem. We begin research maybe with a question or with a hypothesis. We did a research. हामीले एउटा रिसर्च के गर्यौं त भन्दा रोल अफ आईसीटी इन एनहान्सिङ लर्नर मोटिभेसन भन्ने। त्यहाँ हामीले रिसर्च प्रब्लमबाट सुरु गरेनौं, हामीले हाम्रो एउटा हाइपोथेसिसबाट सुरु गरौँ के आईसीटीले विद्यार्थीलाई मोटिभेट गर्छ कि गर्दैन, आईसीटीले कुनै नयाँपन दियो कि दिएन, आईसीटीको प्रयोगप्रति कतिको आकर्षित छन्। हाम्रो मान्यता के थियो त एट दैट टाइम, students are satisfied, students are motivated, they are excited to learn with the help of ICTs. So we selected that as a problem. The component is we shall start by identifying a research problem and then we review the literature. We need to review the literature because we don't have much more idea independently. We get ideas after going through several other works. Literature review means you read books, articles, and you cite ideas, you extract the ideas, you paraphrase the ideas. Second component. Third one is specify the purpose. What is your objective? What do you want to bring out after doing the very research? Then collecting the data. Data collection is another component in a research. And then analysis, interpretation, and reporting the findings. Analysis, interpretation, and reporting the findings. So these are the components in a research. Okay, now I give you the introduction of critical research. Critical research means research on critical aspect. Give the critical aspect. For example, power abuse, for example, domination, for example, ideological conflict, ideological struggle, for example, maybe hegemony, inequality, injustice, and some other pressing social issues like that. So critical research means critical concerns of the life, research on critical concerns of the life. Critical concern, for example, barriers, social barriers, economic barrier, gender discrimination, media text, they are the critical one. Okay, next one is critical research. Critical research includes both textual practice as well as socio-political critique. We make critique means we assess, we evaluate how things are going on. कुन कुरा कसरी भइरहेको छ त भन्ने बारेको अनुसन्धान हो के. Textual practice, it means how something is written, what has been raised. We see textual practice as well as we see socio-political critique. Critique means you come up with alternative. A critique means it is the assessment. समीक्षा भनेको आलोचना होइन. Critical research ले गर्ने आलोचना गर्दैन, यसले समालोचना गर्छ, समीक्षा गर्छ. त्यो समीक्षा समालोचना आफैमा के हो त क्रिटिकल रिसर्च हो. यहाँहरूले दैनिक पत्र पत्रिका हेर्नुभयो भने विभिन्न विषयवस्तुहरूमा एकदम समीक्षात्मक टिप्पणी आएको हुन्छ, समीक्षात्मक लेख गरे हुन्छ. कुनै अभ्यास, व्यवहार, घटना, वस्तुस्थितिको सूक्ष्म मूल्याङ्कन गरेर कारण र कारणसँगै समाधानका उपायहरू सुझाएको देख्नुहुन्छ तपाईले. त्यो के हो त भन्दा द्याट इज क्रिटिकल रिसर्च. In critical research, we carefully observe the issues, problem, events. We study them in order to find out the root cause. After we find out the cause, then we try to provide some solutions, or we at least give our opinions on how could we better address those problems. That is critique. So critical research is textual practice and socio-political critique. Textual in the sense that it gives description, interpretation, and explanation of someone else's speech or writing. जस्तो कुनै एउटा नेताले भाषण दियो, त्यो भाषणको समीक्षा हुने भयो के भन्यो, कुन अर्थमा भन्यो, उसको भनाइले के अर्थ राख्छ. Description, interpretation, and explanation is textual. And social means socio-political. It is the study of power, power relations and hierarchy, issues and ideologies. Doing critical research is both theoretical and practical. Tune Van Dyke says, doing critical research, or for example, critical discourse analysis, is both theoretical and practical. It is theoretical in the sense that it gives explanation of power relations. There is unequal power relation. So people who are in power, they dominate the people who are not in power. Because of their domination, they may be psychologically or physically victimized. And how can we get rid the victims from being victimized is the concern of critical researchers. It is theoretical. It gives explanation of power relation, ideologies, and social structures. Critical research is practical. Practical in the sense that we study pressing social issues. For example, child labor. For example, increasing rape cases. For example, increasing murder cases. अहिले त तपाईको यो हत्याको कति छ, अहिले एकदम दिनानुदिन अत्याधिक आगलागी भइरहेछ. यो पनि इट इज ए पार्ट अफ क्रिटिकल रिसर्च. Critical research in the sense that kind of, the increasing cases of fire has caused terrible problem. अत्याधिक आगलागीका कारण वायुमण्डलमा प्रदूषण भयो, प्रदूषण हुने बित्तिकै भिजिबिलिटी भएन, भिजिबिलिटी नहुने बित्तिकै 2 दिनसम्म पोखरा विमानस्थलमा जहाजहरू बन्द भए. एउटाको त्यो इस्युले कहाँसम्म पुग्यो हेर्नुस् त, त्यो डायलेक्ट्रिकल रिलेसन हो के सिडिएमा हामीले भनेका थियौं, एक अर्का बीचको सम्बन्ध खोतल्ने हो. Practical in the sense that we study pressing social issues, issues that invite immediate concern, issues as seen or experienced in various forms of text and talks. जहिले जब एक दुईवटा ठुला सवारी दुर्घटना हुन्छन् अनि बल्ल सडक सुरक्षाको कुरा उठ्छ नि, यहाँहरूले कतिको विचार गर्नुभएको छ? जब पहिरो जान्छ के गर्छ अनि बल्ल चाहिँ दैवी प्रकोप अथवा विपत्तिबाट उम्किने उपायहरू खोजी गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने छलफल आउँछ। त्यो के हो त भन्दा क्रिटिकल रिसर्चको प्र्याक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट भनेको इट इज रिलेटेड टु सोशल इस्युज इन ह्युमन लाइफ. Issues may be seen or experienced in various forms of text and talks, and analyzing text with reference to linguistic features. Discursive practices means different modes of interaction and reproduction of power relations. Okay, now some key research areas in critical research. Especially in critical research, we focus on gender inequality, different forms of inequalities in the name of gender. तपाईले प्राय पत्र पत्रिका हेर्नुभयो भने जेन्डर एनालाइसिसको त धेरै आयो हुन्छ। आजको कान्तिपुरमा पनि छ। पुरुषवादमा निर्भर महिला पहिचान भन्ने मैले अघि दिउँसो हेरेको थिएँ, यसो भित्र पढिन, जस्ट टाइटल हेरेको थिएँ। पुरुषवादमा अडिएको अथवा पुरुषसँगै अडिएको महिलाको पहिचान। अस्ति एउटा आएको थियो, कस्तो इन्ट्रेस्टिङ, इको क्रिटिसिजम हेर्नुहोस्, इको फेमिनिजम त्यहाँ थियो कि, त्यो पनि क्रिटिकल रिसर्च हो। इको फेमिनिजमले के गर्यो त भन्दा जलवायु परिवर्तनसँगै महिलाहरूको स्वास्थ्य समस्यालाई उठायो। उसले इकोलोजीको एस्पेक्टलाई फेमिनिजमसँग जोड्यो, ताकि जलवायु परिवर्तनले गर्दा एकदमै गर्मी बढेको छ, धेरै काम शारीरिक श्रम गर्ने वर्ग महिला पर्छ, अनि त्यो महिला वर्गमा त वातावरण जलवायु परिवर्तनले लो लेभल एक्टिभिटिज पनि फार्मिङदेखि लिएर अरूमा महिला नै छ, अनि त्यसको सबैभन्दा धेरै असर त महिलामा पर्ने भयो नि त पुरुषमा भन्दा। पुरुषहरू धेरै वैदेशिक रोजगारीमा छन्, विदेशतिर छन्, सेफ छन्। महिलाहरू वैदेशिक रोजगारीमा छैनन्, गाउँमा छन्, घरमा छन्। अनि यो इन्भाइरोमेन्ट पल्युसन यो बढ्दै जाँदाखेरि, वार्मिङ बढ्दै जाँदाखेरि दे आर मोर एफेक्टेड। त्यो के हो त क्रिटिकल रिसर्च हो के भन्न खोजेको। क्रिटिकल रिसर्च भनेको के हो त भन्दा हाम्रो लाइफसँग जोडिएका इस्युहरूको इन डेप्थ डिस्कसन with some alternative visions, with some alternative ideas. That is critical research. Okay, some key research areas: gender inequality, media discourse. Here media discourse means different talks, interactions in published in different media, maybe in print media, maybe in deliberate media, for example television, and maybe in social media. Social media माने कति धेरै इस्युजहरु आएका छन् नि। Analysis of media discourse, analysis of political discourse, ethnocentrism. You know ethnocentrism, ethnic perspectives, promoting one's ethnicity, disregarding others, नस्लवादी चिन्तन, एकदम जातीयतावाद भनेको एथ्नोसेन्ट्रिजम भनेको। एन्टिसेमिटिज्म भनेको जे कुरालाई पनि गलत देख्ने प्रवृत्ति, the negative attitude of people on each and everything, त्यो पनि खराब, यो पनि खराब, यो पनि खराब। अहिले हाम्रोमा एउटा भाष्य निर्माण भएको छ कि नेपालमा, एकदम यो एन्टिसेमियोटिक डिस्कोर्सले एकदम फलोअप गरेको छ। को त्यो पनि चोर हो, त्यो पनि चोर हो, त्यो पनि चोर हो, सबै चोर हुन्, गतिलो कोही छैनन् भन्ने भाष्य छ। तर त्यो भन्ने व्यक्तिले आफूलाई चाहिँ राम्रो ठान्छ, अरु सबै त्यो पनि खराबै हो, त्यो फटा, त्यो डाका, त्यो बदमास, त्यो लम्फु। See the things. That is called anti-semiotic perspective. यो इस्यु हो nationalism, racism, group domination to professional and institutional power. These are just a few examples, okay? These are some research areas in critical research. Now, critical research is problem-oriented and multidisciplinary. Critical research is different from other forms of research. Why? Because of its characteristics. or because of its principles and agenda. What are the principles then? It is problem-oriented and multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary means it is not simply confined within linguistics. Linguistics, social, cultural, anthropological, political, economic, that is called multidisciplinary. एउटैसँग मात्रै जोडिएन के, अघि नै मैले भने नि, महिलाहरूको समस्या छन्, महिलालाई घराएसी महिलासम्म मात्रै नजोडेर त्यसलाई इकोलोजीसँग जोडियो, त्यसलाई इकोनोमीसँग जोडियो। इकोनोमीमा के छ? उत्पादनको काममा महिलाहरू नै बढी समर्पित हुनुपर्छ, इकोनोमीसँग जोडियो। इकोलोजीसँग कसरी जोडियो भन्दा वातावरण प्रतिकूल छ, प्रतिकूल वातावरणमा महिलाले धेरै काम गर्नु परेको छ, त्यो भएर त्यसको असर फेरि गएर केसँग जोडियो? हेल्थसँग, सोसल लाइफसँग। स्वास्थ्यमा समस्या देखियो, सोसल लाइफमा काममा मात्रै बिजी हुँदा एकहोरो प्रवृत्ति भयो, मान्छेसँग घुलमिल यताउता भएन, सोसल डिस्टेन्सिङ आयो। भन्न खोजेको एउटा इस्युलाई जब हामी विभिन्न विधासँग लगेर जोड्छौँ नि, that becomes multidisciplinary. Critical research has a vast research agenda. It is better than other research in order to be accepted because it should have the quality of critic. Critic means you argue with evidence, you make logical arguments, you don't accept anything else as granted. कुनै कुरालाई एकदम granted, you don't accept anything else as granted. That is the critical one. Critical, it means you don't accept anything else with blindfold eyes. Rather, you use the question why, how, to what extent, why it is not, and why it should be. त्यो खालको हाम्रो जुन क्वेसनिङ ह्याबिट हुन्छ त्यसलाई हामी क्रिटिकल भन्छौँ। क्रिटिकल रिसर्चमा पनि हामीले यस्तो एक्जिस्टिङ फर्म, एक्जिस्टिङ एक्जाम्पल्स अफ सफरिङ्स, वी निड टु रेज द क्वेसन्स अन द्याट। यो जेन्डर बेस्ड डिस्क्रिमिनेसन त यति रहेछ कि देयर इज द रोल अफ इडियोलोजी। इडियोलोजी नै त्यस्तो छ कि आई एक्सपिरियन्स। मैले चाहिँ अरू मान्छेले भन्थे, अरूले भनेको न्यारेटिभ महिलाहरूको सुन्ने गरेका थिएँ होइन। यो 2-3 छोरी पाएपछि परिवारबाट यस्तो दुर्व्यवहार भएको, कहीँ कुनै ठाउँमा चाहिँ कसले के गरेको, कुनै ठाउँमा होइन अपहेलित भएको, के गरेको भन्ने कुरा सुनेको थिएँ। म भनेको अब हामी क्रिटिकल रिसर्च गर्ने मान्छेले यो किन, यो कसरी, यो किन हुनु हुँदैन, यो भयो भने यसको पछाडिको कारण के छ भन्ने खोजी गर्ने कुरालाई नि क्रिटिक भन्छ, अथवा क्रिटिकल भनेकै त्यही हो। Raising arguments or posing questions, having some sort of doubt, and explaining the things from multiple perspectives. Okay, critical research focuses primarily on social problems and political issues, then on current paradigms and fashion. Critical research explains discourse structures in terms of properties of social interaction. It emphasizes on the ways social wrongs are enacted. Social wrongs, for example, dowry system is a social wrong. Girl trafficking is a social wrong. For example, home-based violence is a social wrong. Emphasizes on the ways social wrongs are enacted, confirmed, legitimatized. Legitimatized means they have got legal status, they are approved, कानुनी रूपमै वैध गरिएको भनेको हो के, त्यसलाई legitimatized भन्छ। Reproduced and resisted. Resisted means challenged in everyday social practice. That is called critical research. Now, critical research in language education. Here now, we discuss critical research in language education. What does it aim to bring out? What is its focus point, and so on. Critical research in language education has been conducted across the globe. It has been undertaken in many different issues, in different areas, in relation to different disciplines. drawing on many different theories. For example, critical theory. For example, post-structural theory, deconstructive theory, neoliberal theory. Critical research in language education has been conducted across the globe, drawing on many different theories and models of communication. Educational researchers, they are using critical approach for the study of policy, educational policy, how gender friendly they are, how poor people friendly they are, how effective they are, how discriminatory they are, for the study of policy and interactions in classrooms and schools. Critical approach, it can be used in the field of education. In the field of education, particularly to reveal or explore the relationship between the ideology and power. Ideology means mindset. Ideology is attitude. इडियोलोजी भनेको आम प्रवृत्ति हो कि आम रूपमा मान्छेको सोच हो, विचार हो। कहिलेकाहीँ हामी भन्छौँ कस्तो नीच रहेछ भन्छौँ नि, त्यो नीच भनेको उसको कर्मका आधारमा मात्रै भन्दैनौँ, उसको चिन्तन विचार उसको रेस्पोन्सका आधारमा पनि भन्छौँ हामी। द्याट इज द इडियोलोजी। Critical approach can be used in the field of education, particularly to reveal the relationship between the ideology and power. Power is everywhere. Power is a force. Power is not seen, but power is realized, as well as teaching and learning process. Power त realize हुन्छ नि, भोलि 5 बजे तपाईँ आउनु भयो आउनु, otherwise you will see what happens भन्नु मान्छेले भने there is the imposition of power. कसैले औँला ताकी ताकी बोल्ने बित्तिकै अलि अलि पावरफुल मान्छेले मात्रै औँला ताकेर बोल्छ नि। So there comes power. Power is realized. Anyway, critical भन्ने बित्तिकै यो पावरसँग, इडियोलोजीसँग, पोलिटिक्ससँग, डिस्क्रिमिनेसनसँग, यस्तो सोशल रङ्सहरूसँग जोडिया रहेछ भन्ने बुझ्नु पर्यो। However, the particular concern of the field of educational scholarship within critical tradition is on the issues of access. Access means availability. Equity. Equity means justice and diversity. Critical research has drawn researchers' attention. It has drawn researchers' attention to the study of how and why texts are produced and the new meanings are created. हामीले यस्तो खालको रिसर्चमा यो किन भयो, यो हुनुको पछाडिको कारण के छ, यसले कुन अर्थ दियो, कि यो अर्थ सबैका लागि एउटै होला त, यो भन्नुको पछाडि कुनै निज स्वार्थ लुकिया छ कि कुनै अदृश्य शक्तिले काम पो गरेछ कि भन्ने हो कि। हामी critical research, critical language practitioners, they have some sort of doubt. तिनीहरूले कुनै कुरालाई पनि there could be something wrong, अलिकति सन्देह गरेर हेर्नुपर्छ। कसैले तपाईको एकदमै धेरै प्रशंसा गर्यो भने पनि सन्देह गर्नुस्, यसले आज किन मेरो प्रशंसा गरिरहेछ, why someone is praising me? Maybe for asking money, maybe for asking some sort of support and others, that's the thing. So critical researchers, they pay attention on how and why things are produced and the meanings created. According to Rathodak and Michel Mayer, critical researchers in education, they are interested in the study of the properties of real language, study of the properties of real language by users in natural sense, study of text discourse, study of text discourse, conversations or communicative events, study of action and interaction, study of social and cognitive aspect of interaction, and investigation of the context of language use based on economic, cultural, and socio-political issues. Anyway, critical research is issue-based research. Issue means not only the problem. Issue means something that invites discussion. इस्यु भनेकै जहिले पनि प्रोलङ हुन्छ, समस्या र मुद्दामा ठुलो फरक छ के। प्रब्लम भनेको सल्भेबल हो, समस्या समाधान गर्न सकिन्छ। इस्यु समाधान गर्न सकिन्न, इस्युलाई एड्रेस मात्रै गर्ने हो, सम्बोधन मात्रै गर्ने हो। प्रब्लम इमिडिएट हुन्छ, इस्यु चाहिँ के हुन्छ त, इस्यु चाहिँ लङ टर्म हुन्छ, दीर्घकालीन हुन्छ। इस्यु उठ्यो भने त्यसलाई न्यूनीकरण गर्दै जाने हो, समस्यालाई चाहिँ एकदम सम्बोधन गर्ने, समाधान गर्दै जानुपर्छ। They are the difference between issue and problem. Okay, anyway, critical researchers in education are interested in the study of properties of real language, study of discourse, conversation, communicative events, study of action, interaction, social and cognitive aspects, and the role of the context. Rogers et al., they noted that critical research has pertained to various aspects of education, attempting to explore issues such as, it means critical research in language education. Critical research in language education aims to explore the issues, for example, spoken and written interaction in the class, to analyze the societal and institutional context of learning and teaching, to investigate the subtleties of power and privilege, and to examine knowledge construction in different classes. That is a part of critical research. Critical research in education is also concerned with professional practices. It's concerned with professional practices. It helps researchers to investigate the relations between the ideas and the practices in the social context. Concerned with professional practices, particularly in education, and it helps to investigate the relation between the ideas and the practices in the social context. Now, introduction is over. Critical research you have understood. The foundation of critical research in education. इसको आधार के त. The foundation of critical research. Critical approach has found its way into education research through an interdisciplinary interest. Interdisciplinary interest in language, power, and ideology. Indeed, in the 1970s, critical research is quite new. Before 1970, there was no any critical study. In the 1970s, researchers in the field of sociolinguistics, linguistic anthropology, sociology, and cultural studies, they aimed to understand life in schools, each with varying emphasis on textual and social analysis. Each with varying emphasis on textual and social analysis. It has offered the theoretical and methodological tools to bring these efforts together. These efforts means efforts to bring transformation in education, efforts to bring changes, or efforts to help people understand, merging social theory and linguistic analysis. Critical research le linguistic analysis र social theory like foundational research by education scholars. For example, James Paul Gee recognized the ideological nature of educational practices in the social, historical, and political context. हिजोका दिनमा संस्कृतलाई किन बन्द गरियो त भन्दा देयर वाज द रोल अफ इडियोलोजी. त्यो इडियोलोजी के थियो त भन्दा संस्कृत खराब हो, संस्कृतले एउटा धर्मलाई मात्रै प्रमोट गर्यो, धर्मनिरपेक्षताको बाधक संस्कृत भयो भन्ने इडियोलोजी थियो नि त. Recognize the ideological nature of educational practices. To some, that kind of ideology was ideological nature of educational practices and the social, historical, and political context in which they emerge and are transformed. Critical research does not have a long history. Probably it began in the 1970s. It has been multidisciplinary soon. The foundation was based on the analysis of power and ideology of language, along with educational issues, educational access, and inclusiveness or equality in education. The history shows three major traditions of critical language study as well as critical discourse analysis both. Interchangeably, we use three major traditions of critical scholarship. Three major traditions of critical scholarship in education. They are European, North American, and Australian. European in the work of Tune Van Dyke, North American in the work of Fiercolo. Fiercolo is an American. Australian in the work of Rothodak and others. So, European, North American, and Australian in the work of Fiercolo, James Paul Gee, and Locke. L-U-K-E, Locke, respectively. However, Fiercolo became more steadfastly seated in the North American context. Indeed, Fiercolo's methodology provided a textually oriented form of discourse analysis alongside sociological theories of power, culture, and social life. It means critical research has its origin in the study of power, culture, and social life, and in alienation in relation to sociological theories of power, culture, and social life. We can take some examples of the study by John Blumiet, James Collins, Michel M. Lazare, etc., based on those traditions. And one of the earliest comprehensive essay devoted to critical discourse analysis. CDA is an example of critical research. Hey? यहाँ CDA किन लेखिएको त भन्दा it is an example of critical research in language education. By the late 1990s, a handful of empirical studies in education were published that used the version of critical discourse analysis associated with Norman Fairclough and his followers. And over the past 20 years, there have been many research networks, journals, and conferences devoted to critical studies as well as critical discourse analysis, devoted to critical studies and critical discourse analysis. Attesting to its establishment as a tradition. Though it does not have a long history, it has raised the issues like access, inclusiveness, justice, representation, power, ideology, politics, like this. Now, agenda. अब के agenda छन् त? What are the agendas in critical research in language education? Let me discuss some agendas in critical research in language education. What do you mean by agenda? के होला agenda भनेको? छलफलको विषयवस्तु हैन. Agenda means subject of discussion. Agenda means something that we need to discuss in detail. That is agenda. Agenda in research refers to the list of things to be considered or to be done. List of the things to be done. Agendas also mean underlying, often ideological plan or program. Agenda is a plan. Agenda is a program. I will discuss in these agenda. It means this will be the subject of talk or writing. Agendas give the meaning of the issue, that is perplexing problems for sharing, discussion, and further exploration. Researchers in critical language study, researchers in critical discourse analysis, they rely on a variety of grammatical approaches. They depend on different approaches, models, framework. The definition of the terms discourse, critical, ideology, power, and so on. they are also manifold. Thus, critical language study or critical language education is vast in its agenda in research. Research agenda in critical education, CDA means here critical education or critical language study. Research agenda in CDA have been influenced by a set of principles. These principles are changed over the years, and so in the case of agenda, we find new and new agenda. अहिलेको एजेन्डा त न्यू लिबरलिजम छ नि त, नव उदारवादी अर्थतन्त्र, नव पुँजीवादले पारेको प्रभाव। नव उदारवादले के गर्यो त भन्दा हर कुरालाई बजारीकरण गर्यो, हर कुरालाई नाफा घाटासँग मात्रै जोड्यो। अनि यो न्यू इकोनोमी, न्यू फर्म अफ इकोनोमी, नव पुँजीवाद भनेको के हो त भन्दा कसरी हुन्छ रात धनी हुने, मौका यो कमाइहाल्ने भन्ने भ्रष्टाचार बढ्नुको पछाडि पनि देयर इज द रोल अफ न्यू क्यापिटलिजम। वैदेशिक रोजगारीमा एकदम व्यापक मान्छे जानुको पछाडि पनि देयर इज द रोल अफ न्यू क्यापिटलिजम, बिकज इट हैज ब्रट अ काइन्ड अफ माइन्डसेट दैट मनी इज एभ्रिथिङ। हिजोका दिनमा तपाईको कति अरूलाई पैसालाई भन्दा अन्य चिजलाई बढी महत्त्व दिइन्थ्यो। गाउँघरमा पनि पढ्न पर्छ, ल पहिला पढेर यति डिग्री पास गरेर अनि बल्ल जागिर गरे हुन्छ, कमाए हुन्छ भन्ने चलन थियो। अहिले पढ्ने कुरा त पछि पढे भइहाल्यो नि, पहिले त कमाउने हो, पहिले जागिर हो, पहिले आफ्नो सेट होस्, फ्यामिली सेट होस्, देन अदर थिङ्स क्यान बी डोन्ट लेड भन्ने खालको कन्सेप्ट त्यो केले आयो त? त्यो आउनुको पछाडि देयर इज द रोल अफ थ्योरी, देयर इज द रोल अफ इडियोलोजी एन्ड रिसर्च एजेन्डा, they are changeable. Research agenda in critical language study have been influenced by a set of principles. Principles are changed over the years, and even agendas are changed over the year. Based on shared perspectives, we come to enumerate some notable agenda. Here you see some agenda. Gunther Grace. Have you heard Gunther Grace? Unfortunately, he passed away in 2018. गुन्थर क्रेसको एकदमै चर्चित बुक छ द भिजुअल ग्रामर भन्ने। भिजुअल ग्रामर भनेको स्टडिङ डिफरेन्ट सेमियोटिक मिन्स, द स्टडी अफ इमेज इन कम्युनिकेसन हो। गुन्थर क्रेस हैज एनलिस्टेड सम रिसर्च एजेन्डाज अफ क्रिटिकल ल्याङ्ग्वेज स्टडी or critical language study in language education, or some agenda of critical discourse analysis. You say social aspects of language, studying social aspects of language use, for example, different form of expressions with reference to different power relations or different social relations. Language and ideology, language and power, language and subjectivity, language and gender, specific meanings of values of language used by individuals, institutions, and social groups, text in communication, dialectical means two-way relationship, one has impact upon the another, that is called dialectical relationship of readers and text, intertextuality and interdiscursivity, intertextuality and interdiscursivity between and among the task, among the that talks, that is language of science and language of institution. Intertextuality means we look at the textual similarity. Interdiscursivity means we go into the depth of the issue where it is related to. Interdiscursivity भनेको जस्तो उदाहरणको लागि तपाई कक्षामा पढाउँदै हुनुहुन्छ, तपाईको एकजना विद्यार्थी 4 दिनसम्म स्कुलमा आएन, अब तपाई क्रिटिकल रिसर्चर हो नि त, किन विद्यार्थी किन 4 दिनसम्म स्कुल आएन, यो नआउनुको पछाडिको कारण के छ त्यो खोज्नु पर्यो। वा बिरामी भयो कि, वा फ्यामिलीले सपोर्ट गरेन कि, वा किताब कापी किन्ने पैसा थिएन कि, वा उसलाई मनै लागेन कि, वा अरू कुनै साइकोलोजिकल एबिल भयो कि। यसरी जब हामी कारणहरू खोज्छौं र त्यसलाई जोड्छौं, स्वास्थ्यसँग जोड्यौं, घरायसी इन्भाइरोमेन्टसँग जोड्यौं, इकोनोमीसँग जोड्यौं, सोशल रियालिटी, विद्यालय टाढा भएर पो आएन कि भनेर भौगोलिकतासँग जोड्यौं, त्यो आफैमा के हो त that is called interdiscursivity. Okay, these are the agenda. Similarly, CDA research in education, it concentrates on some more agenda: social structures, hierarchy of power and status, that is social status, individual's status in a society, mystification of social events, mystifying reference to agent. Yeah, mystification means people use some strategies to hide the information. Demystify means clarifying, mystifying means hiding something else. The practical linking of social and political engagement with a sociologically informed construction of society, social, economic, and political movements, political motives, or motive factors that tend to affect प्रभाव पार्ने तत्त्वहरू भनेको the legacy of enlightenment, production and conviction of critical knowledge, enlightenment and emancipation both have positive meaning. Emancipation means countable or noticeable changes. Similarly, revealing structure of power and unmasking ideology. Another agenda one is exploring different power structures, and unmasking means opening up the ideologies. Masking भनेको छोप्नु, unmasking भनेको bringing out. Description and explanation of the issues to root out a particular kind of delusion, gaining a proper understanding of how language functions in constituting and transmitting knowledge, organizing social institutions, or exercising power relations. Another agenda is ideology and power itself, role of discourse in the reproduction of social domination, control and manipulation, study of classical rhetoric, like rhetoric aspect in the classical text, ancient text linguistics, sociolinguistics, applied linguistics, pragmatics. These are also the agenda of critical research in language education. Similarly, gender issues, racism, media discourse, political discourse, organizational text, identity research, rituals, academic and institutional languages, academic and institutional practices. All these are the agenda. At least यहाँहरूले 5-7 वटा चाहिँ सम्झिनु पर्यो. These are the agenda in critical research in language education. Now the trends, topics. अब के टपिकहरू के छ त, ट्रेन्ड के छ त? ट्रेन्ड मिन्स द कन्भेन्सन. कस्ता कस्ता विषयवस्तुहरूमा हामी क्रिटिकल रिसर्च भएको देख्छौँ भन्ने कुरा हो. We come to identify the range and frequency of socio-political and academic topics. These different topics in the field of education. Okay, in the field of education from critical discourse analytical perspectives. So Roger et al. In this case, they have identified 12 different topics raised in critical research in education, raised in critical discourse analysis, you can say, or critical research in education. The topics include cultural and linguistic diversity, students' identities. Identities means individual self-image. For example, your identity as a teacher, your identity may be a daughter, your identity may be a housewife, your identity may be mother, your identity may be cooperating fellow, your identity may be head teacher leader, your identity may be others. That is called identities, means the situated images of the individuals. Student identities, teacher identities, standards of education, evaluation and commercialization of education, neoliberalism in education, racism or anti-racism, sexualities, gender, disability, democracy, global and local ideologies, language identity in education, civil and human rights in education. These are the trends or topics. भनेको यस्ता यस्ता विषयवस्तु र क्षेत्रमा क्रिटिकल रिसर्चहरू हुने गरेको छ. Similarly, critical discourse analytical research is an example of critical research. It has been conducted in different disciplinary areas such as literacy education, educational policy, teacher education and professional development, STEAM education. STEAM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That is called STEAM, bringing them together. Higher education, curriculum, art and music, vocational and workforce discourse, critical discourse analysis itself, research methodology, and character and citizenship education. That is moral education. Okay, critical research in language education has a vast agenda and it has raised multiple issues. The issues or trends include some examples are here: dimensions and changes on higher education, teacher education and educational policies. अब हामीले गर्ने critical researchमा हामीले changes in higher education, अस्ति मैले तपाईहरुलाई सेकेन्ड यहीबाट दिएको सेकेन्ड असाइनमेन्टमा एउटा टपिक दिएको थिएँ, चेन्जेस इन अन हायर एजुकेसन अर पब्लिक एजुकेसन सिस्टम, एजुकेशनल पोलिसीज, डिजिटल एजुकेसन। त्यो आशय के हो त भन्दा एटलिस्ट यू क्यान रेज सम सर्ट अफ critical issues related to these areas. Okay, cultural politics of education. Education is always political because people don't have equal access in education, because we experience biasness in education. That's why it is a part of politics. Educational settings in early childhood through secondary community-based education and higher education, literacy education, curriculum and syllabi, language studies, critical pedagogy, studies in race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality. These are very common subject. Okay. Similarly, interaction focused on teacher-teacher interaction, teacher-student interaction, student-student talk set in the classroom setting, social networking sites, or in informal learning spaces. Cultural and linguistic diversity of the students or teachers, or an emphasis on local, state, or national ideologies. Analysis of textbook, curriculum documents, professional development books, policy documents, or syllabi. Similarly, it gives emphasis on digital technology. For example, studying the subjects or issues raised in movie or film, television, videos, social networking sites. These all are, these all are the areas or topics or domains, trends of critical research in language education. So these are the trends in critical research. What about the methodology? What about the methodology or process of doing critical research or critical discourse analysis? We can base our work on a particular theory, then we conceptualize, we select research problems, then we operationalize the problem. So we develop certain instrument for data collection. We collect the data maybe in the form of discourse or text. Then we interpret that information. After the interpretation, then we come up with the generalization. Generally, the process is cyclical. Critical research adopts cyclical process. It follows cyclical process. It means generally it begins with selection of problem, then operationalization of the problem, collection of the data, interpreting data with reference to the critical issues like ideology, power, politics, inequality, injustices, manipulation, control, biasness, and the conclusion, drawing conclusion. This is the cyclical process of doing critical research. Now, the contribution of critical studies or critical discourse analysis, contribution of critical studies in Critical research in language education. Better say critical research. What is the contribution? What is the importance? I discuss you these two things. Critical research or CDA research, it has explored how dominance and inequality, these are social wrong. Dominance and inequality भनेको social wrong हो. How these wrongs are enacted through text and talk. It has immensely presented the instances of agency. Agency means doer. Someone motivates, someone influences, that is called agency, transformation and justice, and explained how discourse produce these different practices. Critical research has focused the push-pull nature of power. Of course, we see push-pull nature of power. समाजमा पनि हेर्नुभयो भने एउटाले किन छोड्ने यो यसलाई, के सहेर बस्ने, तिमी किन चुप लाग्यो, किन नबोल्या भन्छ. अर्कोले तिमी चुप लाग, तिमी बोल्नु हुँदैन, यस्तो गर्नु हुँदैन भन्छ. There can be the pull-push nature of power. And critical research in education. Okay, critical research in education. The contribution of critical research, particularly in education. Research is repeated here. So sorry. It has focused on the pull-push nature of power in social practices of language use. It has established the stance, foundation toward power and social action. It has discussed different educational conditions to change. For example, change in curriculum and policies of literacy, change in the curriculum and policies of professional development. Another contribution, it has recommended a set of actions that took some sort of action. For example, curricular change. For example, policy intervention. For example, change in academic institutions, focusing on the aspect of change, learning, becoming, emerging, and redefining, reformulating. Similarly, critical research, here CDA means critical research in education, has expanded across disciplines and geographical areas. There is a plenty of room for critical studies in all disciplinary areas, especially as CDA is increasingly theorized as a pedagogical tool. So contribution means it has added knowledge, it has raised awareness, it has emancipated the people, it has critically examined the wrongs, and so on. Okay. Now, contribution of critical research. Critical research has particular contribution to bring awareness, to cause resistance means to challenge something else, to bring awareness, cause resistance, bring emancipation, promote social action, and bring social change and the justice. The contribution is seen particularly to bring awareness, cause resistance, bring emancipation, promote social action, and bring social change and justice. Okay, now I am coming to the end. What is the importance then? What is the rationale of critical research in education? Okay, importance of critical research or critical practices in education. We can discuss the rationale of the studies undertaken in those areas. Those means in critical areas, okay, that invite our attention in those in critical areas. So you feel more easier to understand. We can discuss the significance, rationale of the studies undertaken in critical areas. First, educational practices are considered communicative events. It therefore stands to reason that critical studies or discourse analysis, critical studies would be useful to analyze the ways in which the text, talk, and other semiotic interactions that learning comprises are constructed across time and context. Second one is the discourse studies, I mean critical studies. provide a particular way of conceptualizing interactions that is compatible with socio-cultural perspectives. Third, critical studies, critical research, and educational research. They are both socially committed paradigms that address socially committed paradigms. So they address problem through a range of theoretical perspectives. And the final one is this critical studies or critical discourse analysis. Research on CDA provides the tools for addressing the complexity of movement across educational sites. Yeah, educational sites means educational spaces, school, universities, institutions, practices, and systems in a world where inequalities are global in scope. So here we discuss threefold importance or threefold rationale of critical research in education. In conclusion, educational researchers in critical discourse analysis or in critical studies, they are interested in how texts are put together. Bloom and Carter say how texts are put together, studies of policies and interactions. Collins et al. On policies, studies of policies and interactions by Colin, and interaction in classrooms and schools by Kumara Vedavelu and Rosa 2002. So here the thing is they are interested in how texts are put together, interested in the studies of policies, interested in the study of interaction in classroom and the schools. Okay, interactions in classroom and schools. Uh, all of these studies are linked in their inquiry into the relationship between language and social configuration of education. So it is likely that teachers or we people, we working in the field of education, we should, it is likely that we should understand the relationship of educational research and teaching learning process in order to execute teachers' professional practices. In order to execute professional practices, teachers need to acquire ample knowledge and many skills. Okay, they need to apply many skills as well as a variety of knowledge. The CDA is, I mean, critical study or critical research. Critical studies is useful to investigate the relationships between the teaching, learning, and curriculum, and school and community role, as well as ideologies and power, and their impacts on the classroom process and teaching learning activity. Thus, yeah, it is not the, pardon, why it is mistaken. Thus, critical research can effectively, thus critical research, better say critical research can effectively be applied for exploring the educational issues in the context of conflict between power and social realities. It is all about critical research in education.